Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you see behind me, the sign says coming soon, the Mustang. It's finally here, 2024. It's the moment everybody's been waiting for. The stampede has made it from all over the country to here in Detroit, and we are going to be one of the first to show you the brand new S650 2024 Mustang. EcoBoost, GT, more power, all kinds of technology. So let's come along for the ride. All right, so the new Mustang is finally here. Ford unveiled the S650, the brand new iteration of the pony car that's been running for 58 years, almost 60 years, uninterrupted Ford Mustang performance. Well, when you first see this car, you're gonna be like, wow, that is a huge departure from what we're used to. Starting in 05, Ford really went retro with the Mustang. And I think it's completely shed its skin as far as retro goes. So let's take a look at the styling first. You can totally tell that this is an evolution of the S550, and they've incorporated things from the Shelby GT350, the Shelby GT500, and it's got some touches that we've never seen before. So first off, you look at the grille. The openings are big for improved cooling. It's got a little bit of an overhang at the front leading edge, which is kind of like a shark nose. And to me, from certain angles, I see that 69 Mustang, that long hood that kind of overhangs. Returning are the tri-bar headlights, which kind of have a neat look to them. And then drop down, I see a little GT350 in those outer grille openings, which are used for brake cooling, engine oil cooling, and the front one obviously for the radiator and the engine induction. Speaking of the engine, wow, 5-liter Coyote is back, Gen 4. This time it's got twin 80mm throttle bodies. Yep, that's right. Twin 80mm throttle bodies that feed a large plenum. Now, what's interesting to me is that the Bullet engine and the Mach 1 engine, which is really just a Coyote with a GT350 intake manifold, made 470 and 480 horsepower. So if Ford was targeting 480 horsepower, you'd think they would just continue with that engine combination. But I feel that they wanted more than that. Somewhere between 490 and 500, which is why they designed a completely new intake manifold. Now, to go along with that extra airflow, the cams have more duration, and the exhaust manifolds have also been revised for better flow. So I don't see Ford going through all that trouble, all that engineering, and all that expense if they weren't going to up the horsepower by a sizable amount. So I'm thinking this thing could make as much as 500 horsepower. We're going to find out that information later. The back of the car to me seems really aggressive and a huge departure from anything we've seen in the past. The Mustang for the longest time had a very flat back, and now you get that really sharp body line that runs in between the taillights and right through the middle of the deck lid. I actually really like that. I didn't like it at first, but the more I look at it, it almost seems like it's a auto show car kind of thing, but it's the real deal. Ford retained the tri-bar taillights, which we love so much, and the GT gets quad exhaust tips. The EcoBoost gets single exhaust. It's going to sound great either way, but we love, obviously, the V8 power, and we really can't wait to drive one of these things. So when I opened the door, my first impression was OMG. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I had an inkling that we were going to have a much updated interior. I knew Ford really needed to do something with the interior to really bring it into modern times, but I did not expect a full digital display like this car has. But when you slide into the driver's seat, the way the digital panels are curved, they almost seem to wrap around you. They give you really a ton of information, everything you want. They're completely customizable. There's so much to look at. The connectivity is incredible. It cleans up the whole dash, including the center stack. You still get some touchy-feely kind of switches, which is good. And of course, if you look down to the right, there's still a manual transmission. That's right. Thankfully, you can still row the gears if you want. The 10-speed automatic returns, but for those who want that 6-speed manual with 3 pedals, guess what? You still can have it in the GT or the EcoBoost Mustang. And speaking of the EcoBoost, Ford didn't give us a lot of details, but it did tell us that there's some updates to the engine, some updates to the turbo system, and we're going to get more horsepower with that combination as well. Those are always fun car to drive, less weight on the front of the car, cheaper insurance, and the aftermarket is just full of great stuff if you want to pick up the power. There's a few technical things I'll point out. Both the EcoBoost and the GT can be had with the Performance Pack option, which is great. You can get Recaros. Another technology that Ford included is a drift brake, which just sounds absolutely crazy to me. There's two modes. There's novice and I guess expert. You can pull up on the handbrake and lock the back wheels, give you a little bit of assistance if you want to kick the back end around. That's available on the Performance Pack models, and I cannot wait to play with that. So here's some details you'll definitely want to know. The 2024 Ford Mustang will be available in summer of 2023, so just a few months away. There will be 11 exterior colors, including 2 new ones, Vapor Blue and Yellow Splash. Now I saw samples of those colors and they are definitely neat. The Vapor Blue has a little bit of Mistachrome in it, so if you're fans of the 04 Cobras that came in Mistachrome, that might be the color for you. There's also some new stripe choices. You can customize things like the seat belts with some stripes and some colors, and also the calipers. You can choose calipers in black, red, grabber blue, and I believe silver if you go with the Performance Pack that gives you the Brembo brakes. So that's some pretty neat details. Also new for the 2024 is a thing called Mustang Design Series. So that provides further customization options straight from the factory. So that wraps up our first look at the 2024 Mustang. We were so fortunate that Ford invited us in. We saw the car very early on, and I'm amazed. I'm amazed they can continue to make the thing better. Every time they come out with a new model, you say to yourself, wow, how can they keep improving this? But I'm going to guess the V8 is having close to 500 horsepower, which is going to make it probably a mid 1160 car, 122 in the quarter mile. We'll see about the EcoBoost. It's going to be a little bit quicker too. As far as the styling, you know, it takes me a little bit to really absorb it and to come to grips with the new styling. Nobody really likes change immediately. I know it takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to have to get used to the styling myself. But so far, I really like what I see. And while I miss the gauges, those big round gauges that are so typical of a Ford Mustang, I know in my heart that these types of screens are coming in every new vehicle. This is where the technology is going for cars. And I think Ford really did it right. The interior looks fantastic. It looks modern. It needed an upgrade, and they gave it a beautiful one. So overall, I give this thing an A+. I can't wait to drive it. We're going to get behind the wheel shortly. It's going to be a fun ride. Ford Mustang is continuing on. We're coming up on the 60th anniversary. We've got so much more to do at the REVan channel. We thank everybody for watching. And as we like to say, subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment, let us know what you think.